Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A representative form or pattern. I profited from his example. Something to be imitated. An occurrence of something. But there is always the famous example of the Smiths. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. This patient provides a typical example of the syndrome. Punishment intended as a warning to others. They decided to make an example of him. A task performed or problem solved in order to develop skill or understanding. You must work the examples at the end of each chapter in the textbook. A person who poses for a photographer or painter or sculptor. The president didn't have time to be a model, so the artist worked from photos. Construct a model of. Model an airplane. A representative form or pattern. A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. The computer program was based on a model of the circulatory and respiratory systems. Worthy of imitation. Model citizens. Representation of something, sometimes on a smaller scale. A woman who wears clothes to display fashions. Something to be imitated. A model of clarity. Someone worthy of imitation. Every child needs a role model. The act of representing something, usually on a smaller scale. Create a representation or model of. Form in clay, wax, etc. Model a head with clay. Assume a posture as for artistic purposes. Plan or create according to a model or models. A type of product. His car was an old model. Display, clothes, as a mannequin. Model the latest fashion. Something to be imitated. An exemplar of success. Something to be imitated. A specific size and style of type within a type family. An enveloping structure or covering enclosing an animal or plant organ or part. The enclosing frame around a door or window opening. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. A mental case. Printing. The receptacle in which a compositor has his type, which is divided into compartments for the different letters, spaces, or numbers. For English, a compositor will ordinarily have two such cases, the uppercase containing the capitals and the lowercase containing the small letters. The quantity contained in a case. The housing or outer covering of something. The clock has a walnut case. Bed linen consisting of a cover for a pillow. The burglar carried his loot in a pillowcase. A special set of circumstances. It may rain, in which case the picnic will be cancelled. An occurrence of something. It was a case of bad judgment. Enclose in, or as if in, a case. My feet were encased in mud. Nouns or pronouns or adjectives, often marked by inflection, related in some way to other words in a sentence. A comprehensive term for any proceeding in a court of law whereby an individual seeks a legal remedy. A person who is subjected to experimental or other observational procedures. Someone who is an object of investigation. The cases that we studied were drawn from two different communities. A glass container used to store and display items in a shop or museum or home. A person requiring professional services. A typical case was the suburban housewife described by a marriage counselor. A portable container for carrying several objects. The musicians left their instrument cases backstage. A problem requiring investigation. Perry Mason solved the case of the missing heir. A specific state of mind that is temporary. A case of the jitters. A statement of facts and reasons used to support an argument. He stated his case clearly. Look over, usually with the intention to rob. They men cased the house. The actual state of things. That was not the case. An occurrence of something. Another instance occurred yesterday. Clarify by giving an example of. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. Showing by example. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. Artwork that helps make something clear or attractive. A visual representation, a picture or diagram, that is used to make some subject more pleasing or easier to understand. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. An advocate who represents someone else's policy or purpose. A member of the United States House of Representatives. A person who represents others. Being or characteristic of government by representation in which citizens exercise power through elected officers and representatives. Representative government is defined by Abraham Lincoln as government of the people, by the people, for the people. Serving to represent or typify. Representative moviegoers. Standing for something else. The bald eagle is representative of the United States. Punishment intended as a warning to others. Punishment intended as a warning to others. The significance of a story or event. A task assigned for individual study. He did the lesson for today. A unit of instruction. He took driving lessons. Punishment intended as a warning to others. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Learn by repetition. The act of using. The activity of exerting your muscles in various ways to keep fit. The doctor recommended regular exercise. Do physical exercise. Give a workout to. Some parents exercise their infants. A task performed or problem solved in order to develop skill or understanding. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Put to use. An action, often used negatively and without consequences. An exercise in futility. Usually plural, a ceremony that involves processions and speeches. Academic exercises. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. The state of serving as an official and authorized delegate or agent. A performance of a play. A body of legislators that serve in behalf of some constituency. A congressional vacancy occurred in the representation from California. A creation that is a visual or tangible rendering of someone or something. A factual statement made by one party in order to induce another party to enter into a contract. The sales contract contains several representations by the vendor. An activity that stands as an equivalent of something or results in an equivalent. A statement of facts and reasons made in appealing or protesting. Certain representations were made concerning police brutality. The act of representing, standing in for someone or some group and speaking with authority in their behalf. The right of being represented by delegates who have a voice in some legislative body. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. Of or relating to the philosophical doctrine of the reality of ideas. Model of excellence or perfection of a kind, one having no equal. Conforming to an ultimate standard of perfection or excellence, embodying an ideal. Constituting or existing only in the form of an idea or mental image or conception. A poem or essay may be typical of its period and idea or ideal content. The idea of something that is perfect, something that one hopes to attain. An event that happens. An event that happens. An event that happens. An instance of something occurring. A disease of frequent occurrence. An event that happens. Presently occurring, either causally or incidentally. Technical terms are rarely occurrent in literature. A message received and understood. Communication theory, a numerical measure of the uncertainty of an outcome. The signal contained thousands of bits of information. A collection of facts from which conclusions may be drawn. Formal accusation of a crime. Knowledge acquired through study or experience or instruction. A firm rebuke. A summons issued after the filing of a libel or claim directing all parties concerned to show cause why the judgment asked for should not be granted. Cautionary advice about something imminent, especially imminent danger or other unpleasantness. A letter of admonition about the dangers of immorality. A firm rebuke. Cautionary advice about something imminent, especially imminent danger or other unpleasantness. A letter of admonition about the dangers of immorality. Cautionary advice about something imminent, especially imminent danger or other unpleasantness. His final word of advice was not to play with matches. Cautionary advice about something imminent, especially imminent danger or other unpleasantness. The warning was to beware of surprises. Serving to warn. A message informing of danger. A warning that still more bombs could explode. Notification of something, usually in advance. They gave little warning of their arrival. The act of providing vague advance indications, representing beforehand. An example that prefigures or foreshadows what is to come. Something that serves as a model or a basis for making copies. A standard or typical example. A brief abstract, as of an article or book. Use as a guide. They had the lights to guide on. Be a guiding or motivating force or drive. Take somebody somewhere. Something that offers basic information or instruction. Someone employed to conduct others. Someone who can find paths through unexplored territory. Pass over, across, or through. A model or standard for making comparisons. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. A structure or marking that serves to direct the motion or positioning of something. Someone who shows the way by leading or advising. The original specimen from which the description of a new species is made. An iconic mental representation. Her imagination forced images upon her too awful to contemplate. A visual representation, of an object or scene or person or abstraction, produced on a surface. A movie is a series of images projected so rapidly that the eye integrates them. A representation of a person, especially in the form of sculpture. The emperor's tomb had his image carved in stone. Jungian psychology, a personal facade that one presents to the world. A public image is as fragile as Humpty Dumpty. A standard or typical example. He provided America with an image of the good father. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. Language used in a figurative or non-literal sense. Mathematics. The set of values of the dependent variable for which a function is defined. The image of f, x, equals x squared is the set of all non-negative real numbers if the domain of the function is the set of all real numbers. Someone who closely resembles a famous person, especially an actor. She's the very image of her mother. Render visible, as by means of MRI. The general impression that something, a person or organization or product, presents to the public. Although her popular image was contrived, it served to inspire music and pageantry.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.